Hi, I'm Bill Corcoran Jr. This is the On the Stacks podcast.
Oh yeah, whoa, look, they can never keep me down, I'm going, and if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up.
Today's guest is Brooke Perrego, a top-performing realtor with Lewith Freeman Real Estate. In this episode, Brooke talks about conquering the mind to build success. She had to rewire her brain after a traumatic childhood experience that caused PTSD and hypochondria. Hear how Brooke was able to overcome these obstacles, become a top performer in her company, and provide the best quality of life for her family and herself. This episode would not be possible without the support of our sponsors, so please check them out in the show notes. And now here's Brooke Perrego on the Stacks.
Because of the hypochondria, I'm always thinking, because of my mom's condition, that something crazy is going to happen. What are you going to do? Just lay on the ground in the fetal position your whole life and just let life just kick the crap out of you? No, you have fight in you. As humans, I feel like we are resilient. I've done a pretty good job at conquering my own mind, and I feel like that's why I've built the success that I have. I had everything stacked against me. Who am I? How am I ever going to be normal? I just had to push through and just become the person who I knew I was inside.
This episode is brought to you by Burn, the fitness company behind the Today Show approved Burn board. If I'm being honest, working out can be a real chore, especially as a new dad in desperate need of sleep and cardio. Burn is founded by NEPA native Jimmy T. Martin, and his Burn board offers a low-impact core and cardio experience unlike anything I've done before. They have hundreds of on-demand workouts that are great for beginners, seasoned athletes, and out-of-shape podcast hosts who love supporting small businesses. My wife and I use it pretty frequently throughout the week, and it's honestly a great way to burn a ton of calories without burning a ton of cash. Not to mention, it's a great tool for skiers, runners, wrestlers, and hockey players. Jimmy is offering all On the Stacks listeners 15% off when they use the code STACKS15. Visit theburn.com today to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15 at checkout. Again, that's theburn, THEBRRN.com to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15. It's time to get on board today with Burn. This episode is brought to you by Kavanaugh's Grill, one of my favorite places to eat and drink in NEPA. They've got one of the best outdoor patios with 13 TVs and over 20 beers on tap. You can also dine inside at this cozy Irish-style pub where your beer never goes empty. Did I mention how delicious their food is? Their in-house smoked brisket, barbecue ribs, and wings are to die for. So grab your friends and have a drink on me at Kavanaugh's. Mention code STACKS for one free draft beer with purchase of any entree when you dine in. Located at 163 North Main Street in Mountaintop, Kavanaugh's is open at 4 p.m. during the week and 12 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday during football season. Dine in today at Mountaintop's only Irish-style pub.
Hey Northeast PA, Paul Perfect Storm here. Do you want your kitchen or bathroom to go from this to this? Well, Perfect Storm can do it.
Need a kitchen or bath remodel and don't know who the experts are? Perfect Storm Renovations. Expert designers and installers who can help you achieve the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Schedule your free in-home design today. Perfect Storm Renovations. High-end quality anyone can afford.
What's up, podcast? It's Bill Corcoran Jr. here in the Blue Door Studio, protected by our friends at Ritchie Security Solutions. Brooke Perrego, welcome to the On the Stacks podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I thought you were going to ride in on your Harley. I mean, you brought the helmet, but no Harley.
I know. That's my husband's job. He rides the Harley.
Yeah, I was looking forward to doing some wheelies around the building.
Burnouts, yeah. Burnouts in the lobby.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Just why not? Like, we gotta break the place in a little.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Next time, let me know.
Listen, yeah, I have to text your husband right now. Send him in.
In the snow, the snow flurries. It doesn't matter.
Listen, bring it out. Let's go.
It's on the stacks.
That's right.
Yeah,
we
gotta do what we gotta do.
We gotta do it right. Absolutely. Well, no, I'm glad you're here, and you have a pretty incredible backstory, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a little bit. And this is your first podcast, by the way. So
yes, it is. So
yeah.
I'm a tad bit nervous.
Yeah, don't
but
be.
we're gonna just We're gonna do our
breathe,
exercises,
right?
And we're gonna just let go of all the anxiety.
Yeah, because anxiety for you is it's at least more of a past, you know, issue that you've dealt with.
Yes, for
right?
sure.
So, you know, do you have some breathing exercising tips to get this podcast started or what?
So I always put my hand on my stomach and I sit up straight and I just take a really deep breath in and I feel the air go into my stomach, and then I try to get as much air that was in out of my stomach. So I try to always just, it kind of gets your mind off of the anxiety because you're trying to do just as much as you just inhaled. You're trying to exhale out. So it gets your mind off of things.
Calming.
Like that. Yes, very calming. And a deep breath is always calming.
It is.
Yeah.
Always. Do you meditate at all by chance?
I do a little bit. So I have the Calm app.
Do you?
I don't know if
oh
you've
my god!
ever...
that was my next question. I have the Headspace app myself.
Okay,
I had Calm at one point too.
Yeah, I've never used Headspace. Do you like it more than?
I don't know. I literally last week downloaded it.
Okay, well I have the Calm app, and I really like to just go in on. They have certain ones that I really like, and some of them are just like very soft, like trickling water, things like that, nature-y sounds. I get down with that.
Do you?
yeah, I like
the
that.
Sounds. I like that too. You know what else? It's kind of weird. Maybe not weird, but like classical music.
Yes.
I don't know about you. I mean, I know you're a big music person.
Yes.
I know you told me that you wrote me a whole song today, but you know, it was your first show, so you didn't want to sing this song like in full. So we'll, maybe next time. But but you are a singer.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know, from what you have told me.
Yeah,
right?
growing up, I sang a lot in the church, and then I did little competitions. I would do talent shows, and I always got good feedback. Thought about doing American Idol, but I think I'm past that point.
Yeah,
but
it's never too late. Never too late.
It is never too late.
Never
I'm
know.
still thinking about it.
Okay.
You never know.
Yeah,
but yeah, it definitely music was a big part of my life, my whole life.
Yeah. Why so?
I think it really helped a lot with the anxiety.
Yeah.
Being able to, because my biggest thing was I always felt like when I had a panic attack, I couldn't breathe. And my therapist would tell me, if you can talk or you can sing, you're breathing. So you're okay. And so when I would get anxious, I'd go in my room and I would just belt it out, like from my soul. And it would feel like, I'm okay. You know what I mean? If I can sing, I'm okay. I'm not having a heart attack, because sometimes that's what panic attacks feel like. They feel like the whole earth is caving in on you. So it was awesome to have a release of just like belting it out as hard as I could.
So how old were you when you like started doing that?
Oh geez, 7, and then I still do it.
I heard you in the bathroom warming up before we started the show.
Yeah. That was me.
Yeah. So all right. So as a kid, you just took to it and found it as a way of relief, and and you also happen to be good at it too. But
yes, I feel like I didn't have a choice. I feel like if I was horrible at it, my poor parents, they would have been like,
yeah, you can't do that anymore.
They would have been like, find something else. Start meditating at 7 years old, because belting it out isn't doing anyone any justice.
Yeah. So. Back to, like I said, I sometimes enjoy classical music just as like a calming, either if I'm feeling stressed or anxious, or even sometimes like when I'm trying to do like work like that maybe might require like some, I don't know, to kind of get into like a flow.
I know.
Are you the same way?
Yeah, I am the same way.
Yeah?
Only I'm not classical. I like all kinds of music.
I mean, I do too, but
I listen to a lot of rap music.
So do I. And it's funny because I think a lot of people, everybody that knows me that watches this show is going to be like, that he does not listen to classical music. But if you ask my wife, listen, I do. I'll put it on the Pandora in the whole house. Like, I actually make everybody listen.
It is a good vibe.
It is.
It is a good vibe.
Yeah.
And it does stimulate your brain to get you working harder and,
right.
and stuff
Sometimes
like that.
I make the whole household listen to it. You
should.
Right? It's good vibes only.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So take me back to, like you said, you were 7 years old, belting it out in your bedroom, right? Like what? So where did the anxiety stem from?
So my mom, when I was young, I was about 6, about to turn 7. My mom had this condition that no one really knew about. It was an underlying condition that she lived with her whole life, and it wasn't until, she didn't wake up one morning that all of this came to a head. So my dad it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and my dad was like, Mom never sleeps late, go wake her up. And so I remember going upstairs, and I was shaking her, and, she wasn't doing nothing. And I was smacking her, like, trying to get her up. I finally went downstairs and was like, Dad, she's not getting up. Like, I can't get her up. And at first he was like, oh, whatever. She's just really tired. And quickly, once he got up there, we realized, something was really wrong. We had to get her dressed, get her in the car, take her to general. And then she fell into cardiac arrest, like right there when we got to the hospital. So basically what her condition is that her brain doesn't tell her lungs to open and close when she gets into REM sleep. So when she gets to a deep sleep or she lays on her back, her lungs don't work. There was only one person she was the only person in the state that had that at this time. And there was 4 people in the whole United States that had this. So they just wrote on the case file her name. That's how they diagnosed it, until they can find other people who had the same thing. And it was just a lot of traumatic things that a 6 or 7-year-old really shouldn't have gone through. A lot of worries that a 6 or 7-year-old usually don't have. You know what I mean? They don't see things like that. They don't not recognize their mom in a hospital bed and like leave the room because they're like, you're lying to me. That's not my mom. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that happened. Now, thank God, she's doing the best that she's ever done. She's like thriving now.
Shout out to Mom.
Shout out to Mom.
What's Mom's name?
Rita Rowe.
Rita Rowe.
Yeah. And shout out to my dad too, Paul Rowe, because he was...
Got the photo here.
Yeah.
Paul, right?
Yes, Paul Rowe. And he really stuck in there with me, and we cried together and we laughed together. And, when my mom wasn't there, because she was in the hospital, like multiple times on her deathbed, literally, my dad was always there for me, and my family was always there for me. So, it's been a crazy ride. And thank God my mom is doing well now, but for a very long time she wasn't doing well. And you weren't either. No, right? No, I was not doing well. I was trying to cope with it as best as I could, but I did have PTSD from this, and that turned into just generalized anxiety disorder and hypochondria. I went to therapy almost immediately after my mom got home and was settled. So I was around like 7. I started going to therapy because one day in school, I heard an ambulance and I ran out of the classroom, just started bawling. And I went to the principal's office and I was like, my mom is going to die. And I was convinced that my mom was in that ambulance, and that something bad had happened. And that was like an ongoing thing that happened for like a whole year that the therapist had to help me with. Like, every time you hear an ambulance, it does not mean that your mom is in the ambulance, and she could have even been home. I could have been home with her, and I would have thought that like she must have called them herself. Do you know what I mean? And she's down there like flatlining. So it was a lot to deal with as a little girl, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I know it's like a tough and sensitive subject to talk about, but going back to when you were 6 years old when this happened, do you remember like what you felt in that moment? Like, what was going through your mind?
I was just going to lose her. I just thought that it was going to be over and I wasn't going to grow up with a mom. And, it was just terrible. You feel completely helpless. You think that at first I didn't know how serious it was. Even though I saw my mom collapse as a 6-year-old, you don't get those types of things. You know what I mean? she could have just fell, and I tried to kind of make it that way. Like, oh, my mom's not feeling well and she's in the hospital and it's going to be fine. But there, there was a few times where my dad had to explain to me, it's not fine. Like, mom very well might not be coming home. So, I grew up pretty quickly because even when she came home, my dad worked a lot. I get my work ethic from my dad for sure. He worked a lot to make sure that we were taken care of as best as he could. But my mom still was ill for a lot of my childhood. So there were a lot of times when I was home alone because I'm an only child with my mom who was having like an attack of some sort, and I had to figure out how to put the oxygen on her.
And how old were you?
8 at that time, maybe 9 years old.
Wow.
Call the ambulance and stuff like that. Like, scary. That's scary for a little girl to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you said you started seeing a therapist almost immediately after the very first incident, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which you were like 7 years old. And how long did you continue to see a therapist like for all this?
Throughout my whole life until I was about 16, 17 years old. And then I kind of decided that I was okay to do it on my own, that I didn't need a therapist anymore. But even then, sometimes people can go to therapy their entire lives, and I think that's awesome because it's awesome to talk to someone, even if it's once a week for an hour, to someone who's not in your family, not your friends, someone who's totally unbiased and just let loose and just be like, listen, this is what's on my mind. I think that's awesome to do. I just felt like I had done it for so many years, that I had all of the resources. I had researched PTSD like it was my job. Anxiety disorders I researched, even hypochondria I researched, and I had talked about it with my therapist for so long that I felt like I'm okay. I can do this now by myself. So I have been.
So what was that like when you decided to break away from therapy?
At first I was a little scared, but my therapist always told me that I can always call her if something, if I got like to a point where I was super upset over something, and I can always come back. She said, it's nothing against your progress. If you need to come back and talk about a few things, you can come back and talk about a few things. And so that always was very helpful, knowing that, if I did have something that would go on in my life and I needed someone, that I can always go back and talk to her, and she can help me. But I had gotten so many exercises, so much knowledge on what was going on that I felt like I was ready for it. I was excited to be able to do things on my own and just to use it on my own, not having to have like a crutch almost of a therapist, like, talking me through it. I'd be able to do it on my own. So I ended up doing it on my own.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So you really learned a lot that you still sort of practice and carry on. Like, do you still do like research like to this day?
Yeah, sometimes, because when I had kids, that was a whole other thing. Because imagine you having this anxiety disorder, and most of my anxiety is medical driven. So because of the hypochondria, I'm always thinking, because of my mom's condition, that something crazy is going to happen. So any aches and pains I would get, or like a headache, you would automatically go with like, oh my God, I have a brain tumor. Instead of, oh, I'll just take some Tylenol and I'll be fine. So
like, how bad really was this? I feel like sometimes, for people that, have never experienced this, like, it's sometimes like almost hard to understand.
It is, yeah.
It's almost hard to comprehend like how somebody like you could feel from just getting a headache. Like kind of take me through that.
So I had to explain this to my husband as well, because he was like, it took him a very long time to realize like, oh, she's not being dramatic. She really is fearful. You know what I mean? And basically, my mind will automatically go to worst case scenario. That's just how it's wired, to immediately go to worst case scenario. So say I'll use the headache as an example. I have a headache, and it's a throbbing headache, And instead of me just taking Tylenol and saying, oh, it's just a headache, I'll be fine, my brain will automatically go to, there's something really wrong here, and like, you're going to have an aneurysm or something like that. So your brain, the mindset is a crazy thing to deal with, because your brain could trick you into thinking certain things. But it's if you have to realize and learn how to almost trick it back into thinking the positive things. So if my brain says automatically that I have an aneurysm or something's going to be wrong with me, and I'm extremely fearful, like for my life at this point, which I know is crazy. It sounds totally irrational and crazy, but that is sometimes how it goes. I have to take a step back and go, no, relax. This is okay. Take a breath. Everything is all right. You know, you have to retrain your brain to take a few steps back. You need to shut that part of your brain off. And that's what I've been working on my entire life, is trying to shut that part of my brain off and be more positive and get the positivity to be what I'm thinking about all the time.
You basically have to train and conquer your own mind.
Yes, I definitely have to conquer my own mind, and I feel like I have. I've done a pretty good job at conquering my own mind, and I feel like that's why I've built the success that I have, because I did. I had everything stacked against me, for real. I felt at multiple times in my life, who am I? How am I ever going to be normal? Do you know what I mean? And I just had to push through and just become the person who I knew I was inside. Someone who wasn't scared about everything. You know what I mean? I wanted to enjoy my life and feel joy and feel everything that I felt like the world had to offer and what I can offer the world. And I had to really barrel through it for sure.
Yeah. Do you have you ever read David Goggins' books, by the way?
I love him. I have not read his books.
Oh my God.
But I should.
If I had a couple extra copies here right now, I'd give them to you.
Yeah, I should, and I want to, because it's
exactly, you know, not your whole life story to the T, but like there's so much overlap.
Yeah.
Like as you're telling me these stories, I'm literally just replaying his book. Seriously, in my head, like there's
he's
so
amazing.
There's so much overlap, and then, you know, like with him, he's also same thing. Like he's big on how you said about conquering your mind, right? Like he's, you know, same thing with him. It's like mental toughness,
and
training your mind, like literally tricking your mind, like rewiring, your brain, right? Like I mean, you know, obviously his situation and some of the things he's done to retrain or, you know, conquer his mind, right? Have been very extreme.
Very extreme.
Right?
Yes.
Very extreme. I think everybody knows that's listening. Even if you've never read his books, I think almost, you know, most people, if you hear his name, you pretty much, you know, a little bit or enough about him that the guy is just a savage. You know,
he's a monster.
In a good way.
Is. He's in a very good way.
Yeah. However, but you should definitely get those books.
I want to. I would love to read some, because I just feel like, you know, it's so hard when your brain is definitely a very intricate thing, and it can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And it's really up to you and the discipline of yourself and the self-growth and trying to just have self-love and figuring things out to see which side you're going to be on.
Do they like teach you this in therapy? Like, is this where you learn this, or is this kind of just, you know, a little bit of therapy, but also a little bit of your own doing?
Yeah, therapy and a lot of books. I researched. I'm very much like, even when my son got diagnosed with autism, and the same thing with me and my anxiety, everything is research. I need to research, and I obsess over it. And I try to learn absolutely everything about it so I can overcome it. So I read a lot of books about different tactics to, you know, battling with PTSD, anxiety, and stuff like that. And then even with the autism, same thing. You know what I mean? I'm just a lot of research and a lot of reading.
Yeah, until you conquer it.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like you feel like you have to just know just about everything you can possibly know about it.
Yeah.
And then for you, at that point, like, does your mind then feel more free? On the Stacks will be back in a flash after a word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Elevation Wellness, NEPA's premier wellness center located on Mundy Street in Wilkes-Barre. From pro athletes to busy parents, Elevation Wellness is leading the conversation when it comes to bettering your health through integrative medicine. Founded by NEPA native Louis Helmecke, Elevation Wellness offers physician-formulated and guided treatments that are administered by registered nurses. To learn more about how you can experience the benefits of IV vitamin therapy, multivitamin booster shots, non-invasive aesthetics, or peptide, NAD, red light, and compression therapy, visit elevation-wellness.com or follow them on Instagram at Elevation Wellness NEPA. All On The Stacks listeners will receive 10% off their first purchase with code STACKS at checkout. Call 570-762-9400 or visit elevation-wellness.com to book your appointment today. Elevation Wellness, taking your health to new heights. Welcome to the future. While you're hearing this ad in the present, the Center for Technology Innovation at Lackawanna College is preparing students for the jobs of tomorrow in the world of advanced technology. The Center for Technology Innovation will offer undergraduate degree programs, corporate training, as well as short-term stackable certificates in areas such as robotics, cybersecurity, electric vehicles, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. Based at a 90,000 square foot facility in downtown Scranton, Pennsylvania, the Center for Technology Innovation is located 2 hours from the major cities of New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, and is just 15 minutes from a commercial airport in a region thriving with tourist attractions and a vibrant restaurant, educational, and cultural scene. Lackawanna College is a proven industry-leading innovator. But don't just take my word for it. Fast Company even recognized Lackawanna College's reputation for innovation by naming them to their top 10 list as one of the world's most innovative companies. For more information or to enroll, call 877-346-3552 or visit lackawanna.edu.
So oftentimes we get clients who call us or are sitting in our conference room and they've been hurt on somebody's property and want to know if they have a case. If you have a right to be on somebody's property, then you may have a case. At the very least, a property owner owes to you is that if they knew of a danger, they have to remedy that danger to prevent a risk of injury to you.
To learn more, visit Anzalone Law offices online at anzalonelaw.com. And now we're back on the Stacks. And then for you, at that point, like, does your mind then feel more free?
Yeah. Well, think of it as a war, literally, a battlefield. When sergeants and stuff go into war and the military go into war, they don't go into it blind. They go into it knowing each and everything that they have on the table to conquer this enemy. And that's how I think about my brain sometimes. That's how I thought about it really my whole childhood and teenage years for sure. Like, I am fighting against this negative part of my brain, and I need to just really do as much as I can, because if not, I'm not going to have a good quality of life, because I wasn't happy living the way that I was living at all. It was sad.
Like, as a kid, as like a, once you started getting like maybe a little bit older, like I'm sure, without really knowing, but like, I mean, I imagine it was probably pretty hard growing up like in school.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I imagine that like, I don't know if, you had struggles with, friends and friendships and maybe, people maybe thinking like, oh, what the hell's wrong with this girl?
So
right?
I was blessed in the fact that I always had this personality and I always loved to talk to people. And so I had a very welcoming, warm embrace to people. So I had friends. It wasn't that. It was the fact that, once people got close to me and I really let them in on the fact of like everything that was going on, they had no understanding whatsoever. And I couldn't expect them to, because while they were super excited about going to the football game on Friday night, I was absolutely terrified to go to the football game on Friday night. Like, because I thought something bad was going to happen to me at the footbtle game. Do you know what I mean?
So what did you do? Just stayed home?
Some of the times I stayed home, but then I worked with my therapist to actually get me out and actually do things that were out of my comfort zone. And the more I did them, even if it was for like an hour, not the whole night, even if I did it for a little bit, that was a huge win for me. And it would build my self-esteem. You know what I mean? It would build my mind up, right? My mindset of, well, I did it for an hour that time, so I bet I can do it for 2 this time. Do you know what I mean? And it was just little by little, I was able to, and a lot of people didn't even know. I kept it so secret. I kept it so secret because I was ashamed of it, really.
Ashamed of, the fact that you were afraid to go to a football game? Like,
yeah, I felt like a freak of nature.
So like most kids didn't really know growing up? Like
Not really.
Okay.
No, I kept it very secret because I knew that when people did find out, they were always like, well, what's up with that?
Yeah, judgmental.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? And they just wouldn't understand. And then I would feel even worse about myself because I hated it. You know what I mean? I was trying to understand it, but at a certain point in my life, I didn't know much about it either. So now, what am I supposed to tell them? Well, yeah, my mom almost died when I was little, and this, and this happened, and it was super traumatic. Kids, preteens and teenagers don't want to hear about that.
Yeah, nor do they understand.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like on a whole other maturity level almost because I had to grow up so fast taking care of my mom. Do you know what I mean? For so long at such a young age that I could have talked to them about it and I could have explained everything, but I don't think they ever would have gotten it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
no,
just
they wouldn't. They wouldn't have.
It was just a lot. And, and I didn't want anyone to treat me different either. Like, oh, well, don't invite her to this because she has this and that going on. Like, I didn't want that. I would rather just decline.
Yeah. Then have people feel sorry.
Then have people be like, oh, well, don't invite her because she's going through this, and that.
Yeah.
You know?
So, okay. So after high school then, like you graduate high school, like what, what were you going to do? Like what was the, you're probably still at this point maybe struggling a little bit with it, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's even some points in your life where, the PTSD I've pretty much handled almost completely. It's been a very long time since, I even watched this show New Amsterdam on Netflix, which I'm super proud of myself over because it's all medical. It's all about a hospital and these people are sick and, dying even though it's morbid, but I can watch it without going into a severe panic attack. And I actually really like it. And that to me is like a win. That tells me that I have come so far because honestly, I never thought I'd be able to watch a medical show like an ER or a Grey's Anatomy or anything like that. Like I never thought I'd be able to make it through. And here I am. My husband's yelling at me all the time. Stop watching that
You're
show.
watching it too much, right?
Yeah. But I was always pretty ambitious because I always knew that I was going to be someone that did something important, but I never knew what it was going to be. And so I was excited. I actually went to Westside Tech. Shout out Westside Tech.
Shout out Tech.
Yeah, shout out Tech. Well, now it's Westside CTC, whatever. But I went there and I got my cosmetology license before I even crossed the stage with my high school diploma. And I started working at a couple of places that are really still even huge places in the area for like spas and hair salons. And I loved it. And that was what I thought I was going to do. And then I got pregnant with my first son. And being a cosmetologist didn't really pay the bills the way that how I felt like I needed to at that time. So I tried a lot of things. I never thought that I'd be able to find my niche. I was always trying to find my niche. Like, what am I good at?
It's like you didn't really love the cosmetology stuff.
Yeah, like I liked it a lot and I was good at it. I did makeup and I did like spray tans and nails and stuff and I loved it. But it just wasn't paying what I was young too. I was like 19 doing this. And then when I got pregnant, young, it was, I was thinking of this is what I have to do. I need to start making some money, some real like 9 to 5 money here. to really sustain me and my son. So, yeah, I tried everything, like, to find my niche. And I always, though, was obsessed with real estate. I would go on Zillow and Realtor, and I would just look at all the houses, and I look at all, like, the decor in them and how they staged them and what they were going for. And I'd go back and see what they sold for. Like, I was obsessed with it before I was even, like, in it. I always loved it. And I remember asking my mom when I was little, can we go to open houses? I just want to look.
Go look at houses as a kid.
And my mom
That's
was
funny.
like, what is wrong with you? No, we're not going in people's houses. We're not wasting their time. And I was like, but it's an open house for a reason. They want people to look at them. But,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I was obsessed with them. And that was always kind of like a dream job for me. But I always was so nervous because if you know, it's commission. Realtor's job is commission. You don't get paid until you close on a house. And that just made
Scary.
me so nervous.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Talk about anxiety, right?
Yes, anxiety for sure.
Yeah.
About that. And it wasn't until I had my second son, Bo, that it was 3 years ago, and I was just like, you know what? I want my kids to be proud of me no matter what I do, but I'm not going to tell my kids they can do whatever they put their mind to if I'm too scared to do it myself. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I don't care. We'll see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, at least I can say I tried. I tried my dream job. It didn't work out. It's not for me. But
it's kind of working out. Right?
Yes.
Top producer.
Yes.
So it's working out a little bit.
It is. And
Yeah.
I couldn't be happier. I feel like...
Good for you.
Thank you. I feel so blessed. And that just kind of shows what can happen if you really put your mind to something and you believe in yourself and you take a leap of faith. I mean, I never thought that it was going to get to this point. Like, I was happy if I was able to, like, pay the bills for that month and, like, I only sold one house in a month. And, I would have been happy with that. And now to what it's become, I just feel blessed every day. Like, I do what I love to do, and I work with people that I love working with. And a lot of people don't have that. Like, that's a huge part of, like, your life. You spend working a huge part of your life.
Basically your whole life.
Yeah, a huge part of your life.
Basically the whole thing.
And I just feel so fortunate that, something that I always wanted to do now is coming to fruition. And, like, I can actually do it. And I'm doing it, which is amazing to me.
Yeah. So wait, so before this, did you have like any type of sales job prior to?
So I did. I worked at Cabinetry and Stove in Wilkes-Barre doing kitchens and bathrooms with Dave Wong. And, we have a funny relationship. But
So you got a little experience there.
That
was like your first sales job.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not that much of a salesperson at first, but then I got the hang of it after talking to people and stuff like that and just doing it for a while. And then I was just like, you know what? I love houses. I love everything about houses. Like, I know that's strange.
Yeah.
But
so
like,
would you go down the rabbit hole of research and conquering? Like, this seems to be like a theme for you, right? So
I guess so. I guess that's what I did. I just
you're conquering the real estate game now.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying. I'm trying to get my name out there for sure. And I just feel so grateful about it.
Yeah. So I want to go back to, you mentioned the word obsession a few times, right? Like, you get obsessed.
Yeah.
With a few, different things.
Yeah.
Right? Different things throughout your life.
Mm-hmm.
But then you use that to, like, let's just say, like, learn so much, basically to conquer it, right? Like,
yes.
Talk about that for a minute, because I'm wearing a hoodie that has that has the word obsession. Obviously, I'm I'm obviously in this same I like this conversation, and I've had similar conversations like this before on this show, just because I think to become a top producing real estate agent, or to conquer PTSD and anxiety, like whatever it is, like I feel like you have to become so obsessed and in a way that you're going to retrain or conquer your mind in order to achieve the goal, whatever the goal is.
For sure.
Right? Do you think that too?
Yes, 100%. That's the goal for all of that. So I think that my anxiety has given me it's a blessing and a curse, because of my anxiety, I'm very I do get obsessive over things. And when I want to do something, I'm going to make sure that I do it. And even with things within a transaction in real estate, there's lots of parts of a real estate transaction. And my mind is always going one step ahead, going, okay, well, this can happen, and I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen, so this goes smoothly. And that's really a part of the anxiety that has taught me to be like that.
To kind of look ahead, look a couple steps ahead to anticipate, hey, I've been down this road before.
Yes.
I know what could happen, and I'm going to defeat it before it becomes a potential problem.
Yeah. So that part of the anxiety is a blessing in my real estate career, that kind of is in the back of my head all the time, because I'm always trying to also be the best I possibly can. It's very, like I said, obsession over, I do want to be the best. Now, I'm not in it for competition, but I want to compete with myself. Every year I want to get better at what I'm doing. And, even now I have a few designations. I always am continuing my education, because I know there's things that I need to learn still. I'm only in it 3 years. Even though I've been doing really well, I want to learn everything I possibly can about this, because I love it so much, and I want to be the best I can be for my clients. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I want to know everything about it, so they know when they come to me that, this lady knows what she's doing, and she's an ultimate professional in this. That's the goal, and that's what I try to do every day, really.
Yeah. What do you think has been the biggest contributor to your success? You've been doing this for 3 years, and you've experienced major success in 3 years. I mean, I'm not a real estate agent, but I know enough of them that it's not easy.
No.
Right. And it's a lot of people probably quit and give up sooner, very soon. I don't know what the stat is, but I'm sure it's probably a year or less, or maybe 2 years or less.
The first year is the hardest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think you mentioned a few minutes ago, you just barely got by. You sold one house a month. And you're like, oh, I just paid my bills. Right. It's a scary feeling. Right. So for you, what has been the biggest driver, do you think, to your success?
My kids. 100%. My kids and my husband and my mom and dad, but mainly my kids. I always said, I always felt like if I can make, when you're working a 9 to 5, you're making money for someone else, and you're getting paid, but you're making money for someone else. And sometimes that other person can be super ungrateful from the work that you're giving them, and you're, really working your ass off, and they're just like, oh, you were late, and
worried about 5 minutes.
Who cares about your kid that's sick? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sucks.
And I always said, if I can do this job, and I can make my own schedule, and I'm going to be so committed to this that I can't fail. I'm going to make it so I can't fail. It's not an option. I'm just going to throw all of myself into it, and I'm just going to I find ways. I won't tell you my tactics, but I find some very unique ways to find buyers and sellers.
You got to give me one. Can we get one?
Dumpsters. So
you drive around looking for dumpsters in people's driveways, huh?
I do. I'll drive around, and if I see someone that has a dumpster out in front of their house, I'll send them a packet that has my information in it, and I give them a moving list. I give them
Look at you, proactive.
You have to be.
You're multiple steps ahead.
See?
The key.
The key.
Yeah.
I want it so bad And now that I have it, I won't give it up. You know what I mean? I won't give it up. And it is hard to be a realtor, for sure. It is hard. And some people think that we just open up doors and we're like, you know.
Yeah, you just show a house real
we
quick
just show a house.
then you get a big paycheck.
No, it
Right?
is not it. I am people's therapists. I go above and beyond for my clients because I know that this is their biggest asset. This is life-changing.
It is.
And this is honestly, most of the time, your home is your biggest asset. And you really need to trust me. You need to know I have your best interest at heart. Like, I need to show you, like, this is who I am. This is what you're getting, and you're not going to regret it. And I think that that really has helped my reputation a lot. That people can feel that. People feel that I am there no matter what. There was this one girl who called me in the middle of my bachelorette party. And I was selling her house, and she was really stressed out about something. And it was like 10 o'clock at night, Saturday night of the bachelorette party. So it was on and popping. It was
getting heated.
We were having a really good time.
Yes, you're having a good time.
Yeah, we were having a good time. And I went out. I answered my phone, went out on the balcony of the house we were at, and I just talked to her for like 20 minutes. And she wrote it on my Facebook review. She said, this girl answered her phone at her own bachelorette party.
Yeah.
At 10
that's
o'clock
awesome.
at night. But that's just who I am. I want people to know that they can call me and confide in me in anything, and I'm there to help. So I always knew I'd help people. I just didn't know how I would help people.
Yeah, so you're a therapist through real estate, right?
Yeah. And I've gotten to meet so many people, and I feel like I'll be friends with these people for the rest of my life.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it's just amazing to see all the relationships and friendships that I formed because of this.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, even with this podcast, I actually posted just a few days ago on Facebook that like I made a joke too about, you know, like I'm like a therapist, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want I'm gonna try to remember the joke, but I feel like I'm gonna butcher it, so like I'm gonna have to just like look it up because I'm like real bad with the punchlines.
Was that something
right?
about the sponsor? You have to pay someone to sponsor?
Yeah. So it's like the only difference between being a podcast host and a therapist is that one gets paid to listen to people's problems, and the other has to beg for sponsors.
Yeah.
AKA me.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you know, for me doing this, like I built relationships with so many people, you know, like yourself, and you know, after you leave here, I hope you're gonna have a great experience, and you know, you're then gonna go,
of course,
you know, tell everybody, you know, how great it was, whatever. But then it's like it just lives on.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna have like we have this connection now, and it's like I feel like it's a great connection.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like great conversation, tons of value, right, already in this episode. And it's like just this alone, like these relationships that I built, like, I mean, this is like, I'm over 150. Like it's,
I know.
You know, so I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is because
Dude,
it's
a lot.
It's a span of 3 years. It's a span of 3 years of doing this. And, you know, like I said, like, you know, maybe not every single guest, but almost all. Like it's like after people like you like leave here, it's like we just have this, like you become part of sort of this network, like this family, like you're an OnTheStacks alum.
Hey.
You know, like, and shout out to Josh Cadle, by the way.
Yes, shout out to Josh Cadle.
Yes, I think you owe him a lunch or two. He put in an extra good word for you.
He's the best though.
Yeah, he is. I love Josh.
He is.
Josh is an OG Stacks guy. I don't know if you know. Do you know?
I didn't know.
Do you know?
I don't.
So there's a two-parter. There's a two-part story to Josh Cadle and OnTheStacks. So I don't know if you know, but you know, like 4 years ago, this started. There was no podcast for a whole year. Can you even picture that for a second? Like how it sounds weird, right? So for a whole year, I was just like those photos that we took before we came in this room.
Yeah.
Those photos that we took, I was doing that for a whole year with nothing else other than just posting those photos on social media. That's it. There was no podcast for a whole year.
So it was just pictures.
It was just pictures, right? So it was just that. It was just pictures.
Okay.
And all I would do is just I would just put like maybe 2, 3, 4 sentences about you, right, in the caption on Facebook and Instagram, just posting on like my personal page, like nothing. Didn't even have there was no OnTheStacks name. I mean, there was, but there was no business page associated with it. It wasn't a business or anything, right? And yeah, so part one of Josh was on the stacks, like part one, previous to the podcast, like previous to actually starting the podcast.
Right.
So he was one of like the original guests in that first year.
Right.
Before,
With just the picture.
With just the pictures, which you may have seen the picture, like, and he had it as cover photo on his Facebook page for like the longest time.
Yes.
It's me and him sitting in lawn chairs
Yes,
on the stacks, like on Palisperry.
Yes.
And it's got like, red, white, and blue. There's like streamers. My wife was in the background popping off the streamer. Shout out to my wife. Darren's taking the photo. We were all scared like we were gonna like blow this streamer off, and it was gonna like, it was like a cheapo thing from like Party City, but it was actually kind of big, like, and it was kind of like, it was like almost like scary, like intimidating looking. Like we thought it was gonna.
Yeah.
It says don't use indoors. Right, it says don't use indoors.
Well, of course you have to now.
We did, but like we're all reading this, and like I think we only had like maybe like I think we only had once. We only had one shot at this. No, we had two. We tested one somewhere else first, just because we were afraid to use it. Like it's just like don't
safety
use it,
first,
right? Don't use indoors, right?
Yeah.
So we just were like, all right, we're just gonna do it, and it was fine. It was all good, right? But
the picture's awesome.
Yeah,
it worked out.
It was it was.
Yeah.
And my wife literally, no joke, she was crouched behind the stacks, like with the streamer. It was like, all right, what? One take, here we go. Darren's like, go. And she pulls the streamer, boom, streamers. Darren takes a photo. Solid.
Well, she should have been shouted out on that picture as well.
I know. Josh. That's Josh's fault. That's Josh's fault. Blame that on Josh.
Okay.
Throw Josh under the
right.
under the bus. But so then part two is Josh was on the podcast in like the very early on days.
Yeah.
Like literally probably in the first 20 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, so that was 3 years ago. So he was on, pictures
so he's
only.
He's like really the OG.
He is. He's an OG OTS guy. And Josh calls me the other day with this girl's really confusing last name, and I'm like, dude, I don't know who that is. Like, and then I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? She filled out the form through the thing a little while back, and I was like, yeah, I remember seeing. Then it came back to me, right? So. But shout out to Josh Cadle.
Shout out to him. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you, Josh, for a quality guest here. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, there's you have a wild story, and I love having these types of conversations, just about like, self-care, self-growth, like, having success. But kind of going back to that, one of the things I'm just curious of your thoughts on is like, okay, so like you start achieving success, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you get to like you maybe start achieving goals, and I feel like a lot of people sometimes then get complacent. Like I'm guilty of it myself, where I've gotten to a place where it's like, hey, I want to get to this point, whether it was financially, whatever it was. I mean, I work in sales, so like I get it, right?
Yeah.
So like, sometimes like you get complacent, right? Like I don't want to say like I set the bar too low, because I always try to set the bar almost way too high, right? Because I'm always afraid of just getting in that complacency trap, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I feel like we have similar personalities.
Yeah.
Where we obsess over achieving the success, but then what happens when you achieve the success? Right?
I go
then
higher. I go for another level. So you can't get complacent, because then complacent turns to just being stagnant. You're never going to go anywhere if you are just like, okay, I'm fine with being right here. Like, why can't you try harder? Why can't you learn more? Why can't you do this and that? There's a ton of things. And it doesn't even have to be in your profession. People just like give up. And they don't do anything that makes them happy. Go find something that makes you happy.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tell the people, please.
Go find something that makes you happy. Like, try things. Why not? You only live once. Why are you just going to sit at your house and just
watch
be like,
Netflix?
Oh,
yeah,
I'm just going to do the same thing over and over and over again
That's
until
boring
I
as hell.
die.
That's boring as hell.
Yeah. Why not live your life to the fullest? That's my biggest thing. I want to try things. You know what I mean? And even professionally, I want to test the envelope a little bit. I want to try different things. I want to, see if this thing works, or, learn to do this thing and see if this thing works. Like, I don't want to ever be just, I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Eeyore, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
That was good. I like that.
That's my Eeyore.
Yeah. But like regret, I think a big thing is regret, right? Like it's, when you think about it, when you said like, you know, are you just going to live your life just doing that same old thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you have to think down the road, like, hey, when you're like near retirement, like, are you going to think back and be like, man, I wish I would have tried to become a real estate agent, or hey,
Right.
I wish I would have tried to become a real estate investor, or like how I threw that one in there. You like that?
Oh,
Like that, you know
low
what I mean?
blow,
Yeah,
low
yeah.
blow. It'll get there. It'll
yeah.
get there.
Yeah, no, but it's things like that, right? Like you have these things, and you know, I think a lot of people just, they don't think that way.
Yeah.
You know, most people don't, which I think is why so many people are so unhappy.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like, people just go through the motions of life. I mean, that's also complacency. Right?
Yeah,
A bit.
and I mean, I get life happens, and sometimes
Yeah.
it sucks, and it can really just like kick you right in the face
For sure.
and just like, let you down. But it's all what you do with that.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Just lay on the ground in the fetal position your whole life and just let life just kick the crap out of you? No, you have fight in you. As humans, I feel like we are resilient. Even our brains, even though it's a crazy thing what our brains can do to us sometimes, it's a beautiful gift that you have, that you can have the power to control it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Control your own mindset and believe in what you want to believe in. And, you know, it's a beautiful gift. And a lot of people, I think, just throw it away.
Yeah.
They take it for granted and they just do same old thing, and they don't ever do anything. They don't push themselves because they're scared or they don't want to fail. But the worst thing is, you know, if I never tried to be a realtor, right, none of this would ever happen. I would not even be sitting here with you. You would not know who I was. I would not have given my family a better life in the last 3 years. You know, if I didn't take that one leap of faith, my life would be completely different. And it took one time of me being like, I'm going to do this and we're going to just see how it goes. Not afraid to fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. And not making excuses.
Yeah.
I hate excuse people, like, oh, you know what? You know, it's not a good time. Like,
It's never a good time.
yeah, it's never, ever. And it never, and it
time.
never will be.
Right.
Ever, ever, ever. It's like, oh, well, I just had a kid, so now I got to slow down. Okay. I understand that to a degree.
Yeah.
But like, just because you have a family now doesn't mean you can't still go after anything, goal, job, hobby, whatever.
Yeah.
You make the time.
Yeah.
You make it a priority. You become obsessed with it. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to. Like, if, you know, unless like you truly don't love it,
Right.
Then I mean, I get it, and maybe
Yeah.
that's why, you know, some people just maybe make excuses.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe it's something else. Maybe they're just, like you said, afraid to fail or whatever. But I can't stand. You know what I can't stand?
What?
Complainers.
Oh, yeah.
Complainers. Like people that, you know, just bitch all the time, like, oh, my job sucks, or this and that. It's like, dude,
I know.
then do something about it.
Yeah.
Stop complaining. Like,
Yeah.
do something. Do
And
something different.
I do get it, though, because sometimes you do feel like you're in a spot where you cannot do anything.
Right.
Like you're stuck. And
Yeah.
I do feel that for people.
100%.
But there's always a way.
Always.
There's always a way. You know, there's crazy situations, like even Josh's situation and, you know, how he formed that whole insurance group. Like there is, you know, crazy risk. But then sometimes there's just a little risk that you have to take. You know, you don't have to go crazy.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But if you
just start small.
hate what you're doing, then, you know, your quality of life is going to go down the drain. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. And
if you hate what you're involved with,
yeah.
whether it be in a relationship, because that's a huge thing too, or professionally, your life is just you're not going to be genuinely happy.
Yeah. And
You
people
can't
know that,
be.
because then you become complainer guy and girl. Right? You do.
There's someone listening to this right now being like,
Yeah, good. And
I
good.
should stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, but that I mean, seriously, like it's like, I always say, like, whenever I see somebody complain, it's like the amount of effort and time that it took you to complain, whether it was you posted a Facebook status or whatever it is, like,
Yeah.
take that energy and go do something.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Everybody needs to vent once in a while.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
for
like,
sure.
I'm not saying just 100% of the time you
But like someone who does it
But-
all the time.
yeah,
There's
like
a
that,
difference.
right?
Yeah.
There's definitely a difference, and it's like, dude, take that energy and put it into something else. Put it into something that actually matters.
Yeah.
Like, then you won't be complaining anymore.
I agree.
Like
I agree wholeheartedly.
that just drives me nuts.
Yeah,
it drives me
I
absolutely
agree.
nuts. Like just do something about the situation.
There's so much negativity too. Like I go around, I just like when I talk to people and like even online, and it's just like so negative. Mm-hmm. And I just want to hug these people,
right?
And be like,
right
it's
through
okay.
the phone. Yeah, right through Instagram.
It's all right. Let's get through this together.
Yeah.
Life can be an amazing, amazing thing.
Yeah.
And should be.
Yeah. And I think you have a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
I think, obviously given your situation.
Yeah.
What you've been through.
Yeah.
Not that other people don't have perspective, but maybe some people listening to this now will have perspective after hearing,
that would be wonderful.
What you've done, what you've been through, and what you came out on the other side to achieve. Like it's like actually possible. Like,
yeah, that's my main thing. Like, because I do listen to your podcast and I watch them, and that's what I love so much about it is that.
How did you find me, by the way?
Well, I just stalked your life.
Okay, it's all right. I like stalkers.
No, I do like it though, and I like to listen. A few of my friends have been on it,
that.
And I really like. There's sometimes in life you really have everything stacked up against you. And it takes a very strong person, but sometimes we're not always strong. We have to build ourselves up to be strong. And I love hearing stories like that. I wasn't always strong. I didn't always think that, I can conquer my mind. No, I did not. I thought that I was, I won't say what I thought I was, but yeah,
right. I get it.
It was bad, but I did it. And that's the whole point.
Listen, a year ago, so, we're on video right now, right? There's 3 cameras.
I'm not going to look at the camera.
Right? Big, bright light here, right? It's like intimidating.
Yeah.
Right? Like it could be like super intimidating at first.
I was very scared at first, but.
Right? Yeah. Now you're doing good. Like you're like a rock star, by the way. First of all, no one would ever know this is like your first podcast episode. This is like.
Oh my God.
But like, so a year ago, I didn't have video.
Yeah.
And you know why?
A year ago, you did not have video?
No. The first 2 years of the show was audio only. And
stop, really?
Yeah. So this video has only been in existence here for 1 year, the last 1 year, like literally maybe almost like to the date, really. It's kind of weird. But yeah, video has only been 1 year. And part of me not getting the video was because I just didn't want to see, I was like uncomfortable on camera.
Really?
Yeah. They're part of it.
Well,
also,
you're not on it the whole time.
Well, no, but like now it's like, I feel like the pressure has been, or like the show went to the whole next level. Adding this video, obviously the cost of everything, obviously then all this, not that I was afraid of financial stuff, like, okay, a few $1,000 and then, I also have to pay somebody to edit it. Shout out to Eric Curtis. He's the man.
Go Eric Curtis.
Go Eric Curtis. He is the best. He's my guy. But yeah, no, I mean, honestly, part of it, was like, I kept saying to myself, I'll do that soon. Like, somebody kept like, dude, you got to do video. Like, it'll take your show to the next level. And
it does.
And I'm
100%.
And I'm just like, I'll get around to it. You know what I mean? I was like, I just kept like making an excuse.
Yeah.
I just kept making an excuse.
Yeah.
Because part of it was I just didn't want to deal with like, I was like, I just don't look good on camera. I don't want to be on camera, whatever. Right. But, had I not introduced video a year ago, we wouldn't be in this building right now.
Right.
Period. Like at all.
No,
like,
I know. It's the craziest things.
Yeah. It's like the video, it was a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a complete game changer.
And you wouldn't know if you wouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I got over my little, I was a little scaredy cat, but.
I feel you. I was like that outside of my car. I was like.
Were you? Were you pumping yourself up out there?
Deep breaths. Breaths. Yeah.
Yeah. Doing some breath work and like screaming in the mirror at yourself in the car, getting yourself all pumped up to come in, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I read the quote on this necklace all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. What is that?
Yeah. This necklace I found at my bachelorette party in Jim Thorpe.
You found it?
Well, no, I bought it.
Oh, okay. You may sound like
I didn't just take it.
Okay. Was this during the phone call? Was this like the okay, so you didn't steal it. Thank you. Great disclosure. She paid for it, everybody.
I paid for it, everybody.
She paid for it. Was this during the phone call? Like you stepped out a phone call?
No.
Okay.
No, different day and time.
Same bachelor party though.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it says some women fear the fire, some women simply become it. And that is me, my friend.
The fire.
The fire.
You did bring the fire today. The good fire.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah. For real. And by the way, we gotta show the people that picture of your dad.
My dad's awesome.
Hold that up for your camera here.
My dad's awesome.
Look right. Show
That's
dad.
me and my dad.
Is dad gonna watch this?
Or
is he gonna listen?
He'll probably listen.
He's a listening
He'll watch
guy.
it because my mom will be my mom's my biggest cheerleader.
Okay.
And she'll
Me too.
probably
Yeah.
post it on everything.
Yeah.
And
Good. Thank you, Mom. We love the moms that share the content.
My mom,
Yes.
she'll share it everywhere.
Good.
Yeah, and make my dad watch it with her. And if he goes to the bathroom, she'll pause it and be like, "You cannot miss."
I do that with my own. I do that with my own wife.
Yeah.
Of my own show sometimes.
Watch me.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you have to you can go to the bathroom. You have to with the pause so you can't miss me. Yeah. No, it's mostly the guest.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm only in the frame 20% of the time.
Yeah.
It's better. I hide over here.
That's okay.
No, I'm kidding.
That's all right. I know. I've seen the videos.
Yeah. But yeah, so I got over my video thing, and we made some leaps and bounds with the show here.
No, I love it here.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like it, and it's cozy.
It is cozy.
I don't feel like
except for the light's a little intimidating at first.
a little
right?
intimidating with the light.
It's like an interrogation almost.
It's true.
Did you feel that way?
A little bit,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm trucking along.
Yeah, you did amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, first podcast appearance ever. You went like home run, by the way. This is you were just 0 to 100. You didn't even try to go on another one that was just audio only, or just something on the internet that was half-assed.
That's the way I do things.
Yeah, you had to go right you gotta go right to the top.
That's true.
Just went to the top of the mountain,
Yeah.
pulled the parachute,
Yeah.
basically.
That's how my life goes.
Sometimes that's the best way. Actually, not sometimes. It's usually almost all the time the best way to do it.
For sure.
We
gotta get over it.
just jump out of the airplane and pull the parachute.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was phenomenal.
I know.
It really was.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Shout out again to Josh Cadle.
Yes. Shout out to Josh Cadle. Thank you so much for making this connection.
Yeah.
I feel like you'll be my friend forever now.
Yeah. Now we're like a triangle here.
Yeah.
Now,
We'll have to get bracelets or something. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever we need to do. We can get friendship bracelets or.
Thanks. I'll order them on Amazon tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Yeah. Josh, you got a friendship. I can't even speak. Friendship bracelet coming. Right. So yeah, no, good. Okay. So how can our listeners connect with you online, and how do they buy a home or sell a home with you?
Ooh, so that's my specialty. So they can give me a call anytime at 570-861-4426. They can also email me at brookesellsnepa, N-E-P-A, @gmail.com. And all of my social media handles are at brookesellsnepa. My website is Brooke Sells Nepa. It's very cut and dry because that is what I do. Brooke Sells Nepa.
Sell it.
Oh,
Sold.
I'm doing it.
Closed. Done deal.
Yes.
Well, this podcast episode is closed. That was a bad joke. That was really.
It was fun.
Horrible.
It was fun though.
Yeah, it was. I thought I was gonna have to put that helmet on. Thought you were bringing that motorcycle. Still need to.
Next time I will.
No, we can't because it would be bad news. I don't have that kind of coordination.
How much insurance do you have on this place?
Maybe I think
call Josh. You need to call Josh.
That's right, Josh. What do we got here? We gotta review that policy. Well, yeah, no, this was great, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing what you shared, because a lot of it is, to be able to, especially for never being on a podcast before, first of all, and to be able to come on and just,
well,
the information, the stories.
You made it very easy.
Did I?
Yeah, you made me feel very comfortable. So
Good.
if anyone ever wants to come on here, I think that they definitely should. You are the best.
That's right. Yeah.
Everyone should be on the stacks.
That's right. Wish we had. I'm gonna have to start doing more episodes.
Yeah, you should.
When I get some more time, I carve out some more time.
Yeah, carve it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And God, I don't want to say your last name wrong again. Perrego, right?
No.
I know. I'm
It's
just
not
messing with you.
Perrego.
I know. It's Perrego. I know.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
Perrego.
I had Perrego in my head.
I know.
I did.
Everyone does. It's not just you.
Oh, yeah.
My husband and his last name. How dare he?
Yeah, what's up with that, dude?
My old last name was Rowe. Couldn't mess that up.
No, it's pretty easy.
Very easy.
Yeah. Had to go Perrego.
I had to do it.
All right, well. That's it. We're wrapping it up, people. All right. Brooke Perrego on the Stacks
Thanks,
podcast in
guys.
the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me. If you want to see more On the Stacks content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/OnTheStacks podcast or search the hashtag OnTheStacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.